There's shock in both America and India. A decision that looks small on paper is shaking the lives of thousands of families, millions of dreams, and even the economic ties between two of the world's most powerful democracies. Picture this. Over 70% of H-1B visa holders in the United States are Indian. They're the brains behind tech revolutions, the engineers keeping global giants running, the innovators shaping tomorrow. And suddenly, a move comes along that demands every company hiring these skilled workers must now pay. It sounds like a penalty, almost like a wall built not of bricks, but of bureaucracy and money. The question is, what does this mean for India? Should this be seen as a setback, or can India flip the script and turn it into its greatest opportunity? So what exactly happened? The policy comes straight from Washington under Donald Trump's presidency. A man known for unpredictability, harsh rhetoric, and policies that often create waves globally. His move wasn't just targeting foreign workers. It was a calculated push to force American companies to buy American, hire American. But here's the irony. America's biggest tech companies are heavily dependent on Indian minds. Without them, their innovation pipelines could stall. So while the surface narrative looks like it hurts Indians, the deeper story is far more layered. Because when you put such a heavy price tag on imported talent, companies start rethinking where to place their operations. Imposing a $100,000 fee is a surgical strike, disguised as mercy. Trump's team knew better than to attack existing H-1B holders directly. That would have triggered lawsuits, protests from universities, and pushback from Silicon Valley. Instead, they played it smarter. They left the current visas untouched but shut off the supply pipeline. Imagine a swimming pool. Instead of throwing people out, they simply turned off the water tap. For now, the swimmers stay inside, but without new water, the pool will slowly dry up. That's exactly what's happening to the H-1B ecosystem. It was never just about individual visas. It was an entire chain. Fresh graduates entering every year, companies planning hiring cycles, Indian IT giants underbidding projects with cheaper labor, and universities selling the pathway to America dream. By cutting off new applications, the chain has snapped. Infosys, Wipro, TCS, these companies relied on fresh talent to stay competitive. With no new inflow, their model collapses. Universities charging $80,000 for a master's program? Students weren't paying for education, they were paying for the visa route. If that route is blocked, enrollment will fall sharply. And this move isn't immediate destruction, it's slow poison. Over the next 2 to 3 years, existing visa holders will transition to green cards or age out. With no fresh supply, the cheap labor model will die on its own. American entry-level wages in STEM will rise as companies can no longer exploit visa arbitrage. That $100,000 fee on new visas is more than a cost. It's a statement. The message is clear. We don't want you here. The America that once took 71% of Indian H-1Bs is gone. What many people miss is the deeper strategy hidden behind this policy. On the surface, it looks like a roadblock for Indian talent. But if you zoom out, you realize this might actually be India's best chance to redefine its future. Yes, there will be short-term pain. Smaller companies in America can't afford to shell out $100,000 per visa holder, which means some families will face uncertainty, some dreams may feel paused. But in the long run, this could trigger a shift that works completely in India's favor. First, the brain drain problem suddenly becomes cost non-effective. When leaving the country gets harder, the brightest minds are forced to stay back, and when they stay, they build at home. This isn't just a pause on migration, it's a redirection of energy into India's own innovation pipeline. Second, this is a wake-up call for Indian corporates. For decades, India has been comfortable being the back office of the world, relying on outsourcing and labor arbitrage. But that model is outdated. The new era demands India to stop building for others and start building for itself. If we play this right, the next Google, the next Apple, the next Tesla won't be American imports. They'll be born in India. Third, this is a moment to go global on our own terms. America may be closing doors, but Europe, Africa, Latin America, and Asia are wide open. Instead of chasing visas, Indian companies should chase markets. Trade corridors beyond the U.S. are waiting for leadership, and India can step into that vacuum. And finally, while America risks bleeding from policies that backfire, just like tariffs once raised inflation and job losses at home, India can position itself as the smarter, more resilient alternative. The world is watching. If India sends the right signals, attracts global investment, and unleashes its talent, this crisis will be remembered not as a setback, but as the inflection point where India stopped exporting workers and started exporting world-changing companies. Donald Trump's moves, though often chaotic, may ironically push India to strengthen its self-reliance. His tariffs backfired, inflation rose in America, and his aggressive stance alienated allies. Who does this impact the most? Primarily Indian professionals, the coders, data scientists, AI experts, architects of the digital economy. But not just them. It impacts American companies too. Giants like Google, Microsoft, Amazon, and dozens of Fortune 500 firms rely heavily on Indian talent. Think about it. Would they just cut off access to the very engineers who keep them ahead in global competition? Instead, they might look for alternatives. This is where Suhel Seth, one of India's sharpest brand and economy thinkers, offered a perspective. He said, "Three things are inevitable. The best Indian minds will still be welcome. U.S. firms can't afford to shut them out completely, so they'll pay the cost. Nearshoring and offshoring will rise. Instead of flying Indian talent abroad, they'll set up bigger operations in India itself. And most importantly, India could turn this adversity into opportunity." When does this become India's turning point? Not in the distant future. The shift is already visible. India has transformed from a land of outsourcing to a land of innovation. In 2014, India had just 2 unicorn startups. By 2025, that number has soared beyond 160. This is not coincidence. It's the result of policies like Startup India, digital transformation, and a young population hungry to build. Trump's move could accelerate this trend. Why? Because it discourages brain drain. If going abroad becomes financially unviable, the talent stays home. And when talent stays home, it builds at home. Where should India focus now? Opportunities lie in 3 directions. IT and tech parks at world-class levels. Similar ecosystems need to be replicated nationwide, attracting not just local startups, but also global giants. Global expansion beyond the US-America isn't the only market. Europe, Africa, and Asia hold massive potential. Indian companies must think beyond the Silicon Valley dream, strengthening domestic innovation. This isn't just about cheap labor for foreign firms anymore. It's about creating the next Google, the next Apple, but born and raised in India. Why could this be the best thing for India? Because adversity forces reinvention. The cost barrier on visas makes brain drain less appealing. That means India retains its sharpest minds. It pushes Indian corporates and leaders to expand globally, not just as service providers, but as creators of products, ecosystems, and technologies. And politically, it can unify India. Even amidst opposition criticism, even amidst global pressure, this is a moment for India to rise above politics and focus on the bigger picture. How should India act? Here's where strategy matters. Step 1. Don't panic. Visa policies are sovereign decisions. India can't force the US to change, but it can focus on making India more attractive. Step 2. Encourage Indian entrepreneurs and global leaders, the Ambanis, Tatas, Nadellas, to become ambassadors of Indian talent. Send delegations abroad not just to negotiate, but to woo investors, just like during historic trade missions. Step 3. Build beyond labor arbitrage. India should no longer be content with being the back office of the world. This is the time to aim for leadership in AI, clean energy, biotech, and advanced manufacturing. Step 4. Expand globally. If America is closing doors, Africa, Europe, and Asia are opening them. India must seize these new corridors of trade and investment. The H-1B decision could do the same. But while America bleeds, India can build. Because the story of India has always been about resilience, a civilization that doesn't crumble under pressure, but bounces back harder. Every attempt to push Indians down abroad has historically fueled stronger innovation at home. So, has Trump's move hurt India, or has it unknowingly handed India a golden opportunity? One thing is certain, if India plays this right, the next wave of global tech giants could carry the label Made in India.